Have you ever wondered what it takes to truly rule over others? Not just with authority, but with an almost invisible hand, shaping the way people perceive and react to you. Many philosophers have explored this question, offering different strategies for mastering power. But the German philosopher Arthur Schopenhauer had a unique approach, one that might surprise you. Instead of demonstrating superiority, he suggested something unexpected: playing dumb. Success often brings admiration, but it also breeds resentment. People are naturally wary of those who seem too intelligent, too capable, or too self-assured. Schopenhauer understood this deeply, shaped by his own struggles with intellectual arrogance. His mother, a well-known writer herself, once wrote to him, criticizing his tendency to always know better than others. She believed his intelligence, however exceptional, was ultimately useless if it alienated people. And in many ways, she was right. Schopenhauer's early life was marked by tension and conflict. He was undeniably brilliant, but his arrogance created distance between himself and those around him. His reflections on these experiences led him to a striking conclusion. True power doesn't come from proving you're the smartest person in the room. It comes from making others feel comfortable in their own intelligence. So how does playing dumb fit into this philosophy? Schopenhauer argued that when you downplay your intelligence, you achieve two things. First, you disarm potential rivals. If people don't see you as a threat, they are more likely to let their guard down and reveal their own thoughts and weaknesses. Second, you create an atmosphere where people feel valued and respected, making them more likely to trust and follow you. Imagine you're in a debate or a discussion. You know you're right, but instead of aggressively proving your point, you hold back. You ask simple questions. You allow others to feel like they're teaching you something. What happens? They relax. They feel more confident. They begin to like you, and in the process, they become more receptive to your ideas without even realizing it. This approach isn't about deception in the traditional sense. It's not about lying or pretending to be ignorant. It's about strategic humility. When people believe they are in control of a conversation, and paradoxically, they are more likely to see you as wise and insightful because you give them space to express themselves. Schopenhauer's insight aligns with other philosophical traditions as well. Consider Laozi, the ancient Chinese philosopher and founder of Taoism. He famously said, "The wise man is one who knows what he does not know." This idea resonates with Schopenhauer's method. By appearing less certain, you open yourself to greater influence. Even Socrates, who built his entire philosophical approach around asking questions rather than providing answers, embodied this principle. The Socratic method, challenging others through inquiry rather than assertion, is another form of what Schopenhauer advocated. By positioning yourself as the learner rather than the master, you gain more power over the conversation. But there's another layer to this strategy. Playing dumb isn't just about managing relationships, it's about self-preservation. History is full of examples of brilliant minds who were cast out, persecuted, or even executed because they challenged the status quo too openly. Socrates himself was sentenced to death for corrupting the youth of Athens with his relentless questioning. Galileo was forced to recant his scientific discoveries under threat of imprisonment. Schopenhauer recognized that openly displaying one's intelligence could be dangerous. By masking your full capability, you avoid attracting unnecessary enemies. This concept has applications in our daily lives as well. In a workplace setting, for example, being the smartest person in the room can sometimes backfire. If you correct your colleagues too often, you may gain a reputation for arrogance rather than competence. But if you let others take credit, if you appear to be a team player rather than a know-it-all, you might find yourself rising through the ranks faster than those who insist on proving their brilliance at every turn. Of course, this strategy has its limits. There are times when asserting intelligence is necessary, when standing up for your beliefs requires direct confrontation. But Schopenhauer's point wasn't that we should always play dumb. Rather, we should know when to deploy this tactic for maximum effect. So, the next time you find yourself in a situation where you want to gain influence, ask yourself, do I need to prove my intelligence, or can I achieve more by letting others feel intelligent instead? The answer might surprise you. Schopenhauer's lesson is clear. The art of ruling over others is not about dominance, but about subtlety. True power comes not from imposing yourself on others, but from allowing them to believe they are in control, even when they aren't. Have you ever noticed how the most powerful individuals often appear unassuming? How they sit quietly, observing, absorbing everything, only to act at the precise moment when their impact is greatest. This is the art of surprise that has shaped the destinies of warriors, leaders, and strategists throughout history. It is the mastery of deception, not in a dishonest sense, but in the ability to conceal strength until the perfect moment arises to reveal it. Arthur Schopenhauer recognized that openly displaying one's full intelligence or power could evoke resentment and even fear. Instead, he suggested a more subtle approach, playing dumb, appearing less capable than one truly is. This philosophy aligns with the ancient wisdom of Sun Tzu, who famously wrote, "All warfare is based on deception. Hence, when we are able to attack, we must seem unable. When using our forces, we must appear inactive." The power of underestimation cannot be overstated. When people believe you are weak, they lower their guard. They become complacent, revealing their own strategies, weaknesses, and overconfidence. This is precisely why some of the greatest minds and tacticians in history have chosen to adopt an air of humility, allowing others to think less of them until the crucial moment when they strike. Consider the story of Miyamoto Musashi, the legendary Japanese swordsman. Musashi was known for his unkempt appearance and his seemingly indifferent attitude toward combat. His enemies often misjudged him, assuming he lacked skill. Yet when the moment came, Musashi's precision and technique were unmatched. By allowing his opponents to underestimate him, he gained the ultimate advantage: control over the battle before it even began. This strategy is not limited to warfare. In the corporate world, those who speak the least in meetings are often the ones who command the most respect when they finally choose to contribute. They have listened, assessed, and calculated the right moment to introduce their perspective, making their words far more impactful than those who constantly seek to dominate, the silent observer. There is a certain mystique surrounding those who do not reveal all their thoughts immediately. They create curiosity. People begin to wonder what they know, what they are thinking. This silent power is something that great leaders have mastered over time. Mahatma Gandhi once said, "Speak only if it improves upon the silence." This philosophy is not just about wisdom, but about strategy. The less you reveal, the more people are drawn to you, trying to decipher your thoughts and intentions. Silence, when used correctly, becomes a tool of influence. Think about historical figures who were known for their calculated silence. Abraham Lincoln, for example, was known to carefully consider his words before speaking. This made his statements weightier and more profound. The same principle applies to contemporary leaders and business moguls who understand that withholding information until the right moment can give them an advantage. The art of patience is a crucial component of the art of surprise. Acting too soon can expose one's true strength before the right opportunity arises. Those who master patience understand that timing is everything. Consider the story of Julius Caesar. Before he crossed the Rubicon, he carefully concealed his intentions, making it seem as though he had no immediate plans for rebellion. When he finally made his decisive move, it was too late for his enemies to react. His success was not just due to military strength, but also to his ability to mask his true ambitions until the moment was right. Even in modern times, patience is a key trait of successful individuals. In negotiations, for example, the person who speaks the least often holds the most power. They allow others to reveal their positions, their desires, and their fears before making their own stance known. This is a direct application of Schopenhauer's strategy. By appearing less eager, less certain, one gains an edge over those who rush to assert themselves. Applying the strategy in daily life. How can we apply this ancient wisdom in our everyday lives? The principle remains the same. Do not reveal all your strength at once. Here are some practical ways to implement this approach. In social settings, people who talk excessively about their abilities often come across as boastful or insecure. Instead, by allowing others to underestimate you, you create an opportunity to surprise them when it truly matters. In the workplace, instead of constantly trying to prove yourself, observe and choose your moments carefully. Speak when your words will have the most impact, and let others underestimate your ability until it is too late for them to counteract your influence. In personal development, growth often happens in silence. Those who train in secret, who work on their craft without the need for external validation, often achieve the most remarkable results. When they finally reveal their skills, it comes as a shock to those who never saw it coming. In competitive environments, whether in sports, debates, or business, the element of surprise can be a game changer. By strategically holding back and then delivering at the right moment, You create a dramatic impact that can shift the balance of power in your favor, the balance between humility and strategy. It is important to note that playing dumb does not mean actually being ignorant. Rather, it is about understanding when to reveal intelligence and when to withhold it. There is a fine balance between humility and strategic deception. The goal is not to deceive in a malicious way, but to navigate social and professional dynamics with greater awareness and control. Some might argue that this approach is manipulative. However, one could also view it as a form of wisdom. After all, even nature employs the art of surprise. Consider predators who camouflage themselves before striking. The principle is the same. By not revealing everything at once, one can achieve a greater advantage. The art of surprise is not just a tactic of war or business. It is a way of life. It is about knowing when to act and when to wait, when to speak, and when to remain silent. Schopenhauer, Sun Tzu, and countless other great minds understood this principle well. They knew that power is not just about strength, it is about perception. By mastering the ability to appear less than you truly are, you gain control over how others react to you, shape their expectations, and when the time is right, you exceed them in a way that leaves a lasting impact. This is the true art of influence, and those who understand it will always have the upper hand. In any setting, there are two types of people: those who talk endlessly and those who listen quietly. The former often go unnoticed unless they hold positions of power, while the latter carefully absorb everything, waiting for the right moment to speak. Arthur Schopenhauer understood that wisdom lies in knowing when to remain silent and when to contribute meaningfully. Playing dumb is not about ignorance, it's about strategy. Plato famously said, "Wise men speak because they have something to say, fools because they have to say something." This principle is especially valuable when navigating social and professional spaces. By choosing to listen, you gain a wealth of knowledge from those around. You learn their desires, their fears, their ambitions. When the time finally comes to share your perspective, you are equipped with the insight to say something truly impactful. The most powerful individuals in history have mastered this art, not by speaking first, but by ensuring they speak last and best, letting others think they've solved their own problems. Influence is not about forcing your ideas onto others. It is about subtly guiding them toward the right conclusion. The most skillful leaders do not dictate. They plant ideas in the minds of those around them, making others believe they have arrived at the solutions themselves. This creates a sense of ownership, which fosters respect and loyalty. This method can be seen in how we interact with those we respect, such as parents, teachers, or bosses. Parents, as they age, may resist new perspectives. Instead of forcing change, the key is to introduce ideas subtly, allowing them to believe they have made the decision on their own. The same applies in the workplace. Employees often play dumb to protect their bosses from embarrassment. No one wants to make their superior feel incompetent, as doing so could create unnecessary conflict or even jeopardize their own position. Schopenhauer recognized the importance of this strategy, stating, "To play the fool is the last resort in order to cover the defects of others. Constantly correcting those around us only serves to alienate us in their eyes. It is far more effective to allow others to maintain their dignity even when we know they are mistaken. A well-placed question or a subtle suggestion can achieve far more than blunt confrontation." The power of restraint. Many people crave recognition, seeking the spotlight at every opportunity. But before reaching a level of true influence, remaining low-key is often the wiser approach. Those who prematurely seek attention expose themselves to unnecessary scrutiny. In contrast, those who work in silence build their foundation without interference. When their time finally comes, their impact is undeniable. Consider the world of professional sports. A truly great player doesn't need to announce their skills constantly. Their performance speaks for itself when it matters most. Similarly, in business, the most successful individuals often spend years quietly refining their craft before emerging into the public eye. This is not about fear or insecurity. It is about understanding the value of timing. There is strength in patience. By resisting the urge to constantly prove oneself, an individual preserves their energy and influence for when it will have the greatest effect. The most powerful people are often those who understand that not every battle needs to be fought, and not every thought needs to be shared immediately. By mastering the art of listening, guiding without dominating, and embracing patience, one gains a quiet but formidable power, one that commands respect, influence, and success, without ever demanding it outright. Arthur Schopenhauer elaborated on the idea that sometimes the best way to navigate life is to act as if you know nothing, until the right moment arrives. When that moment comes, you can make your mark and capture everyone's attention. Until then, the key is to listen, absorb knowledge, and remain patient. As the saying goes, to enjoy the benefits of being seen as foolish, we must be willing to appear foolish to get ahead. The power of strategic weakness. The ancient Chinese philosopher Lao Tzu, in the Tao Te Ching, explored the concept of appearing weak or unassuming as a deliberate strategy. He suggested that true wisdom often lies in avoiding direct confrontation and refraining from displaying one's full capabilities. He stated, "The sage wears rough clothing and holds the jewel in his heart." This means that true strength is often hidden beneath a layer of humility and simplicity, deceiving those who judge solely by appearances. Socrates also famously employed this tactic through what is now known as Socratic irony. He pretended to be ignorant, asking simple questions that encouraged others to reveal their knowledge or lack thereof. By doing so, he exposed contradictions in their thinking and forced them into deeper philosophical inquiry. His well-known phrase, "I know that I know nothing," wasn't just an admission of humility, it was a tactic to engage and challenge those around him. The human obsession with perception. Schopenhauer observed a peculiar weakness in human nature. People tend to obsess over how others perceive them. He noted that when one reflects deeply, it becomes clear that these opinions, whatever they may be, are not essential to one's happiness. Despite this, people spend their lives trying to manage their image, fearing judgment and craving validation. However, the true art of influence lies not in flaunting superiority, but in embodying humility. By allowing others to believe they have solved their own problems, you position yourself as an underdog rather than a threat. This, ironically, earns their respect and admiration over time. The silent strength of humility. Be kind and compassionate to others, for everyone is fighting their own battles. You may have encountered individuals who constantly boast about their achievements, always seeking to impress others. These people often lack genuine influence because arrogance repels rather than attracts. Frank Lucas, a notorious figure in American history, once said, "The loudest one in the room is the weakest one in the room." Those who constantly seek attention often betray their insecurity. Schopenhauer, too, believed that winning people over required an element of subtlety. If people do not expect you to succeed, and you quietly surpass expectations, your success is even more impressive. Imagine achieving something remarkable and simply responding as if it was no big deal, attributing it to luck or circumstance. This kind of humility not only disarms envy, but also makes others perceive you as grounded and likable. The victory itself becomes secondary to the grace with which you carry it. 5 ways to win by playing dumb. Observe and listen more than you speak. When you talk less, you learn more. People naturally reveal their weaknesses and intentions when they feel like they are in control of a conversation. Use this to your advantage by being the quiet observer rather than the eager speaker. Underestimate yourself in the eyes of others. Let people assume you are less capable than you actually are. This prevents them from seeing you as a threat and allows you to take them by surprise when the moment is right. Let others think they are right. Instead of constantly correcting others, let them believe they've arrived at the right conclusions on their own. This subtly shifts power in your favor, without conflict. Avoid the spotlight until necessary. Those who crave attention too soon often face criticism and scrutiny. Instead, work in silence and reveal your abilities only when the right opportunity arises. Master the art of timing. Knowing when to act is just as important as knowing how to act. Playing dumb is not about ignorance. It's about waiting for the right moment to reveal your full potential. Conclusion. The philosophy of playing dumb is not about deceit or manipulation. It is about understanding human psychology. By appearing less competent or knowledgeable than you are, you gain the element of surprise. You become an underdog that people underestimate until you prove them wrong. Arthur Schopenhauer, Socrates, and Lao Tzu all understood this principle well. They knew that true wisdom lies not in boasting about one's knowledge, but in carefully choosing when and how to reveal it. In a world where many seek to dominate conversations and flaunt their intelligence, those who practice restraint and strategic humility ultimately hold the greatest power. So next time you find yourself in a competitive situation, remember, sometimes the best move is to say nothing at all. Let others speak, let them believe they are winning, and when the time is right, make your move. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more content like this, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Let me know in the comments, have you ever used the strategy of playing dumb to your advantage? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.